I feel so exhausted right now. I'm honestly just, my whole body feels heavy, like I'm so tired. It's definitely just going to be one of those days today. I'm going to need all the motivation I can get, and I'm supposed to be walking quite far today, and I just, right now, I feel like it's not going to happen. I don't know, the morning hasn't been great. My feet are killing, my legs are killing. I had a nosebleed before I left the house this morning. I slept in to make sure that I was getting enough sleep, and it just hasn't helped, I don't think. Every time I try and film a video on this, it's just, I keep missing, every time I try and film a video on this, I keep messing up my words and my sentences. So you're just gonna have to bear with me today, because it's definitely one of those days. So today we're going to be talking about training. It has just started raining and I can't be bothered to detach the pom-pom from my hat, so I'm just gonna kind of deal with the rain, I guess. But basically, similar to how I had like a little disclaimer, I guess, with my gear choice video, I'm just going to do a little disclaimer with this video and say that just because, you know, I'm doing a certain training routine and, you know, I'm doing certain things in my training, doesn't mean that that's what you need to do, or, you know, something that you need to follow if you are wanting to do training. And to be honest, it's not even something that you need to necessarily do if you are doing the PCT. Everybody's different when it comes to training, so it's just what works for you, and this is what I feel like is going to work for me. You don't even need to do that much training for the PCT. I mean, like, yes, you need to train, but, you know, simply walking and getting practice hikes in and wherever you are, and, you know, practicing with some sort of weight on your back, you know, that'll probably do. I mean, I know of people who literally only hiked a distance of 12 mile in entirety before they did the PCT and managed to complete it. And, you know, I've known some people who've never backpacked before and managed to complete it. And sometimes it's more about mind. Yes, I want to get my body ready for it, but, you know, if I'm not mentally ready to do it and prepared to do it and believe I can do it and want to do it, then ultimately, no matter how prepared my body is, you know, I'm never going to be ready and able to complete it, because it's equal parts physicality and mentality. So always bear that in mind. So there's a few main things that I'm like focusing on with my training, and, you know, to be honest, it's not something that you need to be focusing on. It's just something that I think is going to be beneficial. So the first thing that I'm going to be working on is endurance, and that's just purely because obviously I'm going to be walking for miles a day for a long period of time. So like, having good endurance is just going to really benefit that and make that a hell of a lot easier, I guess. The next thing that I'm going to be working on is my flexibility. Now, that probably is going to sound a bit silly, I guess, considering I'm just going to be walking, not cartwheeling my weight, Canada, but being flexible and kind of improving your flexibility is very good for, you know, joints and, you know, whatnot, and it's actually lessens your risk of like injuring yourself, I guess, which I want to take as many precautions with that as possible, because I am a very clumsy person. So if I can reduce my risk of injuring myself, then I will. So that's the other thing. The next thing is weight training. Now, I'm not going to be lifting heavy weights. You could do weight training that way, but obviously if you're carrying a backpack, you know, you're carrying your home and your food and, you know, your water supply around with you on your back for 2,650 miles. That is a long distance to be carrying, you know, a heavy amount on your back. And you know, you don't really get a break from that, I guess, when you're walking, unless you're staying in a hotel for the night. So in my opinion, making sure that like my arms, my shoulders and my back are kind of adjusted and well prepared for carrying that weight is something that I'm classing as being very crucial in my training, so that's why that is included. So the last thing that I'm going to be working on, I guess, is my lung capacity. Now, not everybody does this. I personally am only doing it because I feel like it's going to really benefit me. And the reasoning for that, I guess, is because on the PCT you actually pass 57 mountains. Now, the smallest mountain that you pass and summit on the PCT is actually a little bit bigger than our tallest mountain in the UK. So even climbing the biggest one here isn't really going to get me very prepared. And because you're constantly passing mountains, you know, altitude sickness is a very real thing that people experience on trail. And you know, there is a particular pass on trail, you know, where you're not really dropping below 11,000 feet in elevation. And that's for a very long period of time, and I just want to be as prepared for that as possible. And I think kind of making sure my lung capacity is where it needs to be is a massive thing. And to be honest, that will just naturally come from walking more and, you know, like any other bits of training I do. But I do want to just incorporate some sort of breathing exercises to just kind of really reinforce that, I guess. So the training that I'm going to do, like, to work on all that is I'm going to be doing 2 10 to 15 mile walks a week. Those walks are going to be weighted. I'm either going to have ankle and wrist weights, or I'm going to have 5 to 10 pounds in my backpack, because before today, like, I was carrying no more than 2 pounds, I'd say, in my pack at a time. So I definitely want to be increasing that. I'm probably just going to increase it gradually, so maybe start out at 5 pounds and then increase it by like 1.5 pounds maybe the week after or 2 weeks after, and just gradually build up my tolerance to carrying more weight, I guess. And then that's going to tackle the whole walking long distance and then like walking with weight, I guess, and that's going to kind of count for weight training as well. The next thing I'm going to be doing is cardio 3 times a week. So I'm going to be doing like some sort of HIIT exercises, I guess, and I'm going to be doing really intense ones. That's really just to get my fitness levels up. That's really going to help just develop my stamina and, you know, my ability to kind of go for a long period of time if I'm doing something really intense. I'm going to be doing that 3 times a week. And then the last thing that I'm going to be doing is yoga. Now, this is just for the breathing exercises and for my flexibility. So I'm going to be doing that maybe 2 times a week. The plan for a Monday, so today, is to hike 10 to 15 miles, which I feel like is very doubtful at the moment. But that is the plan. I have got 5 pounds in my backpack today. I'm going to get home, do some uni work, and then I'm going to do my HIIT workout. And then after that, later on the night, I'm going to do my yoga routine. So that is the plan for today. Whether it happens is another thing, but I'm here walking, aren't I? So if I can get out and walk, I can do the other things at home. I have walked up and down this path for what feels like an eternity, and you know, I'm sweating, my nose has been running like crazy. I had another nosebleed. I stood in a muddy puddle because there was no other way around it, and my shoe came off in that muddy ditch and got covered on the inside and out with mud. My sock got covered because I ended up having to put my foot down in it, and I was ankle deep in this mud puddle, and I've been out of breath. You know, I've fell in water, and I have literally just got to this point, and right up there is where it leads out and takes me back to the initial trail that I started on. So I'm very happy. I'm very tired. You know, today started out terribly. I was exhausted and tired, and to be honest, it didn't really go that great throughout the rest of the walk either. These videos so far have been quite upbeat, and they've had a lot of like positive music and positive things said, and you know, just a general kind of easy and happy, I guess. To be honest, I mean, even on the days when I'm feeling very good about walking, or you know, I don't have to do as many videos, I still go back at the end of the day and have about 50 clips of me saying the same thing because something wasn't right on each one of them, and I kept going until I got the right one. And you know, walking and all of this, it isn't perfect, and it's not all happy music. And you know, since making my first video and now, I've had tons of moments where I don't feel very motivated and don't want to do things, and I've not really showcased that with you. And so today I wanted to kind of show to you that it's not always going to be me smiling in these videos, and it's not always going to be me, you know, happy and full of energy, I guess, and wanting to do this. And it's not always going to be easy, and it's not always going to be motivational, I guess. You know, this morning I was so exhausted that I felt like I could cry. I started filming the first video and I started tearing up, and I was like, I can't do this today, I'm so exhausted. And don't get me wrong, you do have to listen to that, and sometimes, you know, you do have to rest and take it easy and say, no, today is the day I just don't do it, and that's important. But if you kind of take this video as anything, take it as a sign to just not give up, because I didn't today, and for all it was horrendous, I saw some really beautiful things too. Like where I walked, yes, it was horrendously muddy and didn't end. There was a beautiful little stream, and it was the prettiest place, and I would never have found that and got to see it if I hadn't walked down that path, or if I'd said, no, I'm going to stay in bed this morning. And I just think it's important that you take the good days with the bad, because they're going to happen whether you want them to or not, and there's kind of no way around that. And you know, are you going to let the bad day kind of stop you from seeing something you've never seen before? Or are you gonna, you know, fight it, I guess, and not let it stop you from doing what you want to achieve?